The atomic workout. More isn't always better. This is the first thing you have to understand about speed training, is that we cannot sprint train for 2 hours. This is not like distance running, where maybe more is better. This is not like weightlifting, where we're trying to lift for an hour, 2 hours, whatever. This isn't like some old school coach that wants to practice 3 hours. More will only ruin speed training. This is an important slide. These guys are the best athletes in the world. They just finished the 10th event in 2 days. They're not tired because it's the 10th event. They look awful because the 10th event is the 1,500 meters. 1,500 meters is about a mile. And these guys are terribly trained for that endurance event. The reason why they're terribly trained is the other 9 events are speed and power events. If these guys train like cross-country runners, they wouldn't throw the shot put very far or the discus. They wouldn't run the 100 very fast or the 110 hurdles very fast. They wouldn't jump very high or very far, because speed and power must be trained differently than endurance. So these guys train their ass off for like all year long on those other 9 events, and then try to gut it out on the 10th event, this endurance 1,500 meters. Do less and achieve more. When you agree to do a short workout, I believe your outputs will automatically increase in intensity. And that's what we're looking for. Never mistake activity for achievement. John Wooden was one of the smartest men that ever lived. John Wooden believed that most sports practices were full of activity without accomplishing much. And so a coach has to constantly ask themselves, what do we want to accomplish? What do we want to achieve? And you need to get rid of all those other things that are just activity-based. We do not want to be like a bad teacher in a bad class that assigns busy work to fill in half the class every day. The problem I've found with athletes that I've worked with, especially remote athletes, is that their schedule is so jam-packed. This is an actual schedule from 2018. Somebody posted this on Twitter. And basically this athlete is so busy that he can't speed train. That going from May through June, I guarantee this athlete will be a slower athlete at the end of June than he was at the end of May. Because he is full of activity, but he's doing nothing that resembles top speed, high speed sprinting. This book really is really the seminal moment for this short video that I'm recording. And that is the idea by James Clear that we want to create habits. And you don't create habits by having huge commitments. You create small habits first and let them grow into bigger commitments. It's kind of like the reason why you call them atomic habits. Of course, the atom has a lot of power. Habits have tons of power behind them. But atomic means small. Like the smallest thing we could possibly have of gold would be an atom of gold. Well, what I've tried to do in this video is to try to create the smallest possible speed workout that we could possibly do and still call it a speed workout. Now, once we create habits of doing speed workouts, then we can progress to more optimal workouts. We can add the exercises that, I have a whole catalog of exercises we can do, but we can't get them done in 16 minutes. So what could we get done in 16 minutes that we could still say would have a really positive impact? Might be a game changer, might be a life-changing impact if we could get out and do this 2 or 3 times a week. So first of all, everything we're going to do is full intensity. and max outputs. Now that's made easier by the fact that our work that we're going to do will be in segments of 5 seconds. Only 5 seconds. We're going to do 10 and 10. 10 speed drills in 10 minutes. That means a 5-second speed drill followed by 55 seconds of rest. That's a 1:11 work to rest ratio. Hopefully you're thinking, damn, I could do that. And then you're going to do 2 sprints. Now, I would love to see you have a free lap timing machine and do flies and convert to miles per hour, but most people will not have that. So what I'm going to tell you is this: do 2 40-yard dashes. Mark it out in your street, parking lot. If you can get to an indoor track, an outdoor track, whatever you can find. Find a place where you can sprint 40 yards. And it's 10 times better if you sprint that 40 yards and get timed. We're going to do 2 of them. We're going to separate them by 5 minutes of rest. So 10 drills in 10 minutes, and then 2 40-yard dashes separated by 5 minutes of rest. Why don't we go shorter rest? Well, we want to be as fast as possible on that second 40-yard dash. So we're going to start off with 3 what I call front side drills. Front side means we're bigger in the front than we are in the back. The old Carl Lewis pose. We want to be as tall as possible, and we want that back hand, we want to have real loose shoulders so that our back hand has a full range of motion and ends up about 12 inches past our hip. So we're going to start off with what we call a fast march. We're going to pick up our knees, and our foot's going to be out in front of the body, just like you see in this picture right here. We are going to use the cue. We want to be snappy in our movements, and we want to stomp the ground. Stomp, stomp, stomp. That looks just like running, except for it's a march. Really, what sprinting really is a fast march. Then we're going to do A-skips. Once again, boy, it looks like the exact same thing. We're going to be big in the front. Knee high. We have our thigh forms almost like a tabletop that's parallel to the track. Our foot is under our knee. We're running with good height and full arms. We're very snappy in our movements. We're going to do this for 5 seconds and then rest for 55 seconds. Then we're going to do high knees. Boy, it looks like the exact. See, all 3 of these things are what we call front side exercises, where we try to get big in the front without being long in the back. Snappy movements. We're tall. Our shoulders are loose. We do that for 5 seconds. That was about 3 seconds there, but we want to extend it for about 5. Next, we're going to do 3 bouncy things, 3 plyometrics. First thing we're going to do, we're going to imagine that we have some plyo boxes in front of us, like 5 of them, and we're going to jump high, like we're going to jump over a high box, and then we're going to bounce off the ground. We're not going to land, gather ourselves, jump again. We are going to bounce. Bounce, bounce. By the way, fast guys are really good at this. Slow guys are terrible. So what should the average athlete work on? They should work on things that fast guys are good at. By the way, you need to go over at least 5 boxes here. 5 boxes will take about 5 seconds. Next, we're going to do bounding. The cue here is that we want to cover a lot of ground, but not by just taking big steps. We want a tabletop thigh, and we want to jump up and out at about a 45-degree angle and pose in the air. This is in slow motion, so you can see that 45-degree angle of the front thigh. We're covering tons of ground, and we look like sprinters. They're not just long steps. The third plyometric is very similar to the box jumps, except for now we are not going to bend our knees. We're not going to bring our knees up to our chest like we did in the box jumps. We're going to jump like we're on a pogo stick, where our knees are almost fixed. There's just a little bit of movement in the knees, lots of help with the arms. Once again, only fast people can get off the ground that high. So if you're an average athlete, what do you want to do? You want to become more like a fast athlete. Next, we're going to have 3 exercises. We've accomplished 6 so far, 6 in 6 minutes. Now we have 3 more exercises. We call these prime times because just like Deion Sanders would do when he return a punt for a touchdown or an interception for a touchdown, he would straight-legged kick his feet out in front of him, and it looks kind of like this. The first one, though, was actually short prime times, where we're taking like 12-inch steps, but super frequent. Straight legs, super frequent, about 12 to 18 inches per step. We do it for about 5 seconds, then we rest for the rest of the minute. Now we're going to go big prime times. Now we're going to really race down the track because we're going to be straight-legged, but get a lot longer stride length. That look good. Now, the third thing we do is we do the exact same thing, except for we're not straight-legged anymore. We are bent-kneed. Everything's still in front of us. Nothing's behind us. I'll show you that again. That's kind of quick. We are not straight-legged. We are bent-kneed doing those prime times. Once again, we're just kind of demoing here. That probably took about 3 seconds. We want to go hard for about 5. The last thing we're going to do is accelerate. So we start with all of our weight on our front foot. You can go either left or right, but I like to talk about left. So we're going left foot forward, left hand high and back. Eyes are down. Eyes are down. We are going to split our hands and then rip through. All the while, we're going to push the ground behind us. There's the split and there's the rip. Big horizontal pushes, pushing the ground behind us, and we are going to get to top speed. That's the 10th speed drill. We are done. So we have done 10 5-second drills followed by about 55 seconds of rest. That puts us at the 10-minute mark. Now we have 2 maximum speed sprints to do. Now, when we come out, this is just a little bit of technical stuff. When we split and rip coming out, we really want to come out and finish through the hips. And when you finish through the hips, you have very good straight lines. You're not all bent up anymore. We want to fully extend coming out. We want to come out at about 45 degrees with our eyes not up, but down. So let's review the 10 and 10. Fast march, A-skips, high knees. Remember, those 3 things are the front side drills. Then we go with box jumps, bounding, and pogo jumps. These are the 3 bouncy things, also called plyometrics. Then we go with the 3, these are also front side things, but we call them prime times because 2 of the 3 are straight-legged. So we have short prime times, big ones, and then we have bent kneed. And then the last one is an acceleration into a sprint where we practice acceleration mechanics, a good start, a split and rip, a push, 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 and we get to top speed. And it's really important that you get to top speed here because now we're going to go into those 2 sprints. So how do you train a cat? Sprint as fast as possible, as often as possible, staying as fresh as possible. Really important. I think we've hit on all those things. I guess we haven't hit on how often. I say that we can sprint 3 times a week. So I think the optimum thing that you could do with this atomic workout is to do this 3 times a week. So this is a 10-meter fly. Remember, if you don't have a timing system, you will be stuck doing 40-yard dashes, but that's okay. The 10-meter fly is like a 30-meter run in, and then we're going to time this guy at maximum speed for 10 meters. There's the first cone. There's that yellow cone that you see there. That's the finish cone. Those two cones are 10 meters apart. We will time how fast he was. He actually ran that in exactly 1.00 seconds. And if you take that time, if you take 22.37 divided by that time, that's his miles per hour. So he was actually at 22.4 miles per hour in that. So notice he's also wearing spikes. I think spikes are optimal, and we love to be optimal when we sprint. Now, obviously, if you're out in the road or on a sidewalk or a parking lot, you're not going to wear spikes. But if you can get to a track, an indoor track or an outdoor track, I would, even though you might not be a track athlete, I would buy spikes because you will be faster in spikes. And the faster you are, the better your central nervous system will remember what that speed feels like. So the 40-yard dash looks exactly the same, except for we're going to time him for 40 yards. This is the 40-yard dash. And remember, if you don't have the free lap timing system, then you'll need to stopwatch this. And the way you time a 40-yard dash is the runner gets set. And as soon as the timer sees the hands move, you click start. As soon as you see the chest break the plane, kind of like if you imagine like a sheet of glass as the finish line. As soon as the chest hits that sheet of glass, that's when you hit the stop. So the third option would be to just run this and pretend you're getting timed. That is the worst option. No, the worst option is not doing your speed workout. So obviously the free lap timing system is best. Second best is a stopwatch. Third best is to just run fast and pretend you're getting timed. Everything will look just like the 10-meter fly. He runs it just the same, except for we're timing the whole thing instead of the last 10. This is that free lap system that I was talking about. If you're interested in this, you can email me. I have my email at the end of this video. What you would get if you wanted this is the system that would have just the 2 cones and 1 chip. 2 cones, 1 chip, $535. Sounds like a lot of money, but it's the best athletic investment you'll ever make. $535 to get 2 cones, 1 chip. The time goes straight to your phone. So reviewing the 16-minute workout, full intensity, max outputs, the work and the work to rest ratios like 1 to 10, 1 to 11. So none of this is hard, but it is maximal, and you do need to be fresh. Man, you can't do this after you lift weights. You can't do this after a sports practice. You have to find times, even if it's just twice a week, you have to find times that you're fresh in order to train speed. Now, remember, like I said, the 16-minute speed workout is not optimal. This is atomic. This is something, the tiniest speed workout you could possibly do. And what's good about this? Maybe this will become a habit for you. Maybe you do 2 a week for a couple of weeks, and then you do 3 a week. And then you're like, gee, Coach Holler, could you give me the optimal workouts? I would like to expand what I'm doing. Absolutely. Now, do I think this could improve you a great deal? Yes, or else I wouldn't be spending my time recording this dumb thing. So yes. This could really, especially if you have never done speed workouts before. You're like a blank canvas. Just a couple things about mechanics. Really important. This is that big in the front thing. And when you're big in the front, you get this stretch in your hip flexor, which is like a rubber band. It's not a muscle. Your hip flexor is a tendon. And that stretch will result in a snap forward. You also, the neutral ankle thing down there, that's called a dorsiflex foot. The toe is supposed to be up and not pointed to the ground. This is the fastest guy who ever ran in high school in Illinois, and I coached him. Right now, this in 2021, he was the third fastest under 20 in the world. This is Marcellus Moore. This is showing that big in the front look, that front side mechanics. You have the neutral foot there, the dorsiflex foot, and because he gets that good stretch in the back leg, that back knee is going to snap through. It's not going to get pulled through. It's going to snap through. Now, most people that play field sports like soccer and lacrosse and rugby and, even football, you have this, nobody gets into good front side mechanics because you're always tired. And you're just like jogging or tired running. And there's a difference between running. These people are running, I guess. But there's a huge difference between running and sprinting, because sprinters look like this. Runners look like that. And we need to train in our, when we're fresh, in the off season, a couple times a week, even in season, we need to train to run fast. So when you are interested in the optimal workout, I have 16 courses out there, and I would strongly suggest the Feed the Cats 101, the speed workout, and Feed the Cats 102, the X Factor workout. And then if you're interested in more, you can contact me. But all these courses are really good, and they're the number one sellers at CoachTube, track and field wise and speed wise both. So it's important that you understand that I can be a resource for you to help you to continue to chase your dreams. Remember, college coaches in all sports want fast, explosive athletes. But surprisingly, most high school athletes train for their sport and they lift weights. That's all they do. Train for their sport, lift weights, and they get tired a lot. And they just think that speed must be genetic. Slow people are always going to be slow. Fast people were born that way. And they don't realize, like I do, that speed can be improved just like anything else in your life. But you gotta habitualize it. You gotta make it a habit. So hopefully the 16-minute speed workout can get you out the door. If you need to contact me on Twitter, it's @PNTrack. I'm the co-owner of the Track Football Consortium, which is the best sports clinic for coaches in the world. I'm big on reflexive performance reset, which is quite a rabbit hole. Amazing stuff. I publish my cell phone number, as you can see there, and also my email address. So if you need to contact me, feel free to do so. My content is at CoachTube, and I put out all my stuff. My social media is all @PNTrack, and I kind of run a daily propaganda campaign there. Thank you for listening, and let me know if you need help.